You just heard Stephen A. Smith, a national broadcaster, wax poetically about the New York Knicks making a move, giving up a haul of draft picks to acquire a really good player. A good player. But now it takes him out of the mix for Joel Embiid or some other superstar that becomes available. But everybody is claiming that the New York Knicks are now the Celtics' biggest competition.
They're not. Can I chime in on this first?
So I asked to lead off the show, do you think that the New York Knicks are the Celtics' toughest opponent as we enter free agency in this day 2 of the NBA draft?
Playing the role of Skaz today? Hell no. The Knicks are dumbasses for sinking $220 million, 5 first-round unprotected picks into 2 3-and-D wings that aren't movement shooters and couldn't defend Tatum and Brown if their life depended on it. The Knicks just failed, but hey, hype them up.
I couldn't agree more, Jimmy. Just, I don't even need to add anything to that. Jimmy Stewart, perfect take. I said last week the Celtics don't have a lot of competition in the NBA. Everybody's going to get all hot and bothered because it's the Knicks. And we always do this. Stephen A. Smith goes and yells and grates and about how great it's going to be and all that because it's the Knicks. Anytime the Knicks do something, it's a big deal because people want the Knicks to be a big deal. They've almost never been a big deal. Certainly not in my lifetime. Is this a good team? Yeah. Do I like some of their pieces? Yeah. Brunson plays hard. Hart plays hard. It's the Nova group, all that. That's not anywhere near the talent level that the Celtics have. I will say this. I said it last week to Felger. I'll say it again, Joe. I think the competition in the NBA right now is down. If the Celtics do not win multiple championships over the course of the next few years, it will be more about them than it will be about the competition. This does not change my opinion on that one bit.
Does that make him a green teamer? Mark Dondero, your thoughts on the New York Knicks acquiring Mikal Bridges and the news today that Kristaps Porzingis could miss the first, at least 6 months after having surgery.
How are you guys?
Hi.
I like the Knicks. Okay, I like what the Knicks are doing. The answer to the question, however, is no. I think the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East is now the Indiana Pacers. I think the Pacers play a style that causes problems for everybody, but the Celtics in particular. I don't think the Pacers, for whatever reason, are intimidated by the Celtics. I think they have a belief against the Celtics. Not that we need to get deep into the weeds on that. I like what the Knicks have done. I think they have that winning DNA-ish, in an IT Celtics kind of way. I mean, I know we were talking about on the email about the Kentucky Celtics or whatever that was. I think they're more like the IT. They're fun. They got a good group. Jalen Brunson's probably a little bit more legit than Isaiah Thomas was back in the day. So I like what they've done. I just don't think they have enough. I don't think they have the stars. I just don't think it's enough based on what the Celtics, not only what they have, but what they did this year and how they've grown from what they've done and what they did this year. I think there'll be a nice little story. I don't think it's enough.
Dondero's right. It is the Pacers because of style of play. And I know that was the only team they swept, but I thought that Pacers team was the toughest team the Celtics played in their run to this title. I thought they were tougher than the Mavs, tougher than the Cavs, certainly tougher than the Heat. Again, it's more about the style. Now, they didn't know how to win, and they choked a couple games away, but I would agree. Let's see what the Pacers do. But they're still way far away from the Celtics. Everybody is still way far away from the Celtics, and that should be your takeaway. And I'm going to guarantee you, I will guarantee it to you today, on June 27th, by the end of this offseason, there will still be enough of a significant gap, particularly in the Eastern Conference, between the Celtics and the field. You should not be worried. It's all about the Celtics. It's not about the competition.
So I have it. There's 4 people in this room with a microphone. Ryan Beaton's here today as well. We all believe that the Celtics are still the best in the East, in that New York, although the upgrades that they made have been nice, and they're not done yet.
They're clickbaity moves, Joe. They're clickbaity.
Just want to make sure that this isn't a green team movement. This time slot gets, they throw that out there often. Sometimes we're just right. We do that at night. We give facts, and they go through. I even told you who the Celtics were going to pick last night. And it happened. Told you it was going to happen, and it did. But you guys mentioned the Pacers. They had some injuries, as we know. The path was so easy for the Celtics this year. The Pacers didn't have Benedict Mathurin, who I think is a nice player. They didn't have him. Halliburton should advance. And Nembhard was really good. It was, a rookie, essentially.
They were better without Halliburton in that series, I thought.
So I agree with you on that. I was waiting for the draft last night to see if a team would make the move. The Heat are someone that I'm still looking at. They extended Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler says he's going to play his last year but won't re-sign there. And I'm still wondering about Kevin Durant. I'm still wondering what the Warriors are going to do if they're trying to get a big fish.
Paul George.
And, hey, remember he was the blueprint years ago with Danny Ainge? That was the blueprint, if you remember. So I think the news today about Kristaps Porzingis makes things a little bit closer for New York, right? Mm-hmm. The Celtics now have to find someone that could fill potentially 30 games or more for that matter. But at least for the first 30 games of the year, Porzingis established something with the Celtics where they could play with spacing, right? They could get to the basket, but also, find three-point shooters. They have some decisions to make when it comes to their extensions over the next couple of days, but Porzingis missing the first potentially 30 games. The reason why the Celtics had an easy path was because they were the best team in the NBA. They had a 15-game lead over everybody else. Does that 15-game lead now shrink a little bit considering the loss of Porzingis at the beginning of the year?
A couple of factors there. As I said, it's more about the Celtics than it is about anybody else. Do the Celtics come back to the field? One of the reasons maybe they do come back to the field a little bit, Joe, is the Porzingis injury. Depth in the front court. Are you going to get what you got out of Al Horford this past year going into next year, coming off another playoff run? Are you going to get what you got out of Brown, Tatum, Holiday, Derek White, all of those guys? Do they come back still in the form that they were in at the end of this year? Or do they spend, the summer getting fat and happy and celebrating? Like, that's a factor here. It's absolutely a factor. But the Porzingis thing is huge. And, it's a good thing in the sense, and it's not good that he's hurt, right? But at least you don't have to worry about managing him at the beginning of the year. That's the silver lining to all of this. You can manage him throughout the year, but you tried to manage him this past year, and it didn't work. They need to go out and find a big man who can play legitimate minutes for them in the regular season so you don't have to go back to Porzingis and you can really, really manage Horford. They need to find a starting quality big man.
Yeah.
I think that's their number one need, and should they have taken a big man last night over a shooter? I think that's a good question.
We'll get in that. Let's open up the phone line. 617-779-0985. That's the phone number. The loss of Kristaps Porzingis, I think a lot of people knew about it, but now 6 months. Mark, I know you were going to give a take on regarding the Knicks and Porzingis being out, but how do they make a move with the salary cap situation?
I mean, listen, like Matt said, this is a different situation because they won the championship, and now the regular season I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter to me what seed they are. All that matters to me is managing Porzingis as we go into next year. So that's what I'm going to be worried about. Here's another factor that it's not even worth talking about right now. And I know we can go through the numbers and the analytics, and everybody's going to yell and scream about Jason Tatum and how he performed. Okay, I happen to think that in future postseasons, Jason Tatum is going to shoot a higher percentage from the field. He's going to look like an elite offensive player. And he's going to look like he has in other postseason endeavors and efforts that he's made. Game 6 in 2022, Philly in 2020, whatever you want to talk about. He's going to be better. There are a lot of teams that need to prove that they can win, that they can. The Celtics, how many times did they go to the Eastern Conference Finals? The Knicks haven't done anything or gone anywhere. They need to prove all of that. This isn't college in the NCAA tournament anymore. They need to prove all those things. So the East, there are pieces that could move. You mentioned Durant. That's interesting. I don't know if Durant goes to the Heat or something like that. Could that be fun? That'd be fun. I don't know if that's realistic. But all those things, the Celtics can sit back, watch, and just handle Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, it's all about the finals, really, the Eastern Conference Finals. Manage him until the Eastern Conference Finals and then unleash him. That's all I care about right now based on where they are.
I agree with that. It was easy to do that when you're 15 games ahead of everybody.
Yep.
What are you going to do now?
Who cares if they're not 15 games? Why do they have to be 15 games ahead?
I don't know.
We saw LeBron and the Cavs do that all the time.
They front-run their way to a championship this year. It's how they won. It's how they won.
So if they were a lower seed, they wouldn't have won?
I don't know.
The teams in the East
I don't know. Right? Isn't it the way that it's set up for them? I think the Celtics are the best team in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I think bringing everybody back, they should beat everybody that they play. I don't think there are teams that can beat them 4 times. Nobody beat them 3 times. So I look at it and say teams can change. You just talked about the hangover of potentially winning a championship. Does Jason Tatum have a wrist injury? Is there other things that they want to handle?
Ankle.
This is the hip. Who knows? This is We're doing a show today. Kristaps Porzingis is missing time. And are the Knicks close or are the Pacers close? We'll start there at 617-779.
You're just doing it for clicks, Joe.
Clicks.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Maz here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.